Welcome to the O Brother Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
How's it going, Dan? Got the Beatles on the
Still
mind.
got the still got the Get Back episode on your mind. So coming at you with a new episode, December 10th. Hopefully, when you get this episode, we'll see how that turns out. It's all up to Emily. No pressure. But first of all, for those of you not currently following us, make sure that you do. And the easiest way to find all things O Brother is to go out to our official website, which is, of course, ohbisandbrotherpodcast.com. That's ohbpodcast.com. You get access to all the O Brother goings on out there.
And if you go to YouTube, please subscribe.
Yes.
Subscribe, hit that subscribe button. You don't have to hit like if you don't want to.
Yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, why? What are you waiting for? So yeah, give us some love out on YouTube. We'd appreciate that. Got a new blog out too that is right in the spirit of the holidays because we are, it's like I said, December already. So, but who knew? We're doing a review today on the film. This is how it goes with us all the time, right? We got a plan and then like last minute, 11th hour goes out the window. But I think it turns out to be for the best in most cases, hopefully. But so we're doing a review of the movie called The Card Counter, which came out in September. So it's fairly new, starring Oscar Isaac. And we'll get into the rest of the cast there too. But who knew? Wait, before you say that,
okay, go ahead.
Who would have thought, we're a couple of months removed from Halloween Fest. Who would have thought that the movie we should have featured during Halloween Fest was The Card Counter with Oscar Isaac?
Why do you say
that? It'll make more sense as we talk about the movie, but
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll make more sense to me.
I think so. Yeah. And hopefully the rest of the listeners.
Yeah. So you were throwing it to me for something?
Well, you were, as usual, trying to interrupt me as I was doing the opening bit, but continue.
No, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm not quite as dwarfy.
You're still dorky.
Higher.
You're still dorky. I don't know about dorky.
Well,
but,
I can't fix it all at once.
Well, you got all that room now since I'm not there. You've got all of this real estate.
I can get up and run around my movies, pitch them in the air, jump.
Yeah.
Do all of that fun stuff I used to do.
Right. Leave your pants off again, all that good stuff. So okay, you forgot what you were going to say. So let's just jump into it. And first of all, we'll say this is directed by Paul Schrader and stars Oscar Isaac, Tiffany Haddish, who, I'd always known as primarily like a comedian, a funny actress. It's a little bit of a different role for her in this. And then Tye Sheridan, who plays a younger kid in this character, Kirk Beaufort. And then Willem Dafoe.
I know him from? What do I know him from?
I don't know that I looked up his filmography, but he looked familiar.
Was he? I'm
did look familiar.
There the whole movie thinking.
And I thought, was it when he was younger that I knew him from something? Okay, here we go. So
got it?
He's best known for playing the young Scott Summers Cyclops in the reboot X-Men film series. He was in Ready Player One. Maybe that's where you recognize him from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
remember him from X-Men too.
He's been in some other things too, but
but
yeah, he did have a familiar look beyond that to me too.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. Yeah. So you want to set it up? Give us the synopsis of this one.
Yeah. So the main character here is Oscar Isaac, and it opens up. It's a bit confusing at the beginning because he's talking about being in jail. I never thought I'd, see the inside of a jail or something to that effect. Yet there's cards being played, and it was a bit confusing to me at the beginning. But he's basically a gambler, professional gambler, and he, that's hence the name of the movie, Card Counter. And he basically tells people, anyone who seems to sit next to him, apparently, how to count cards. He's pretty open about it. And he knows the tricks of the casinos. The casinos don't mind that you count cards. They mind how much you win while counting cards. They get to a point, and he shows this, director shows this at the beginning, when Isaac is sitting at a table. I forget his character name already.
William. Well,
Yeah,
William Tell.
He goes by William Tell,
right,
but his name is like
Bill
Tillish.
Tellich. Yeah, Bill
something
Tillage.
like that. Tillish. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he's sitting there and he kind of sees the dealer look up, and it's kind of a little tick to him, and he turns to his side and he sees the casino manager basically coming to probably 86 him. And he says, you know what? I'm out. That's good. Have a good day. Gives him a chip. That's because they caught him counting cards. They're going to remove him, but he got up and left. And that's cool. I mean, casinos, they lose sometimes. So it basically tells the story. He meets this kid that we're talking about, and I don't know his name either in the movie.
Kirk, I already said it. Kirk Beaufort.
Thank you. Kirk with a C.
With a C.
Kirk with a C.
Correct.
So they're in this security meeting. He happens to go to the security meeting.
It's a conference in the hotel where the casino is.
Correct. And it's basically teaching hotels how to use this new software they've designed to catch people stealing. And it really examines their face.
All of this is irrelevant. Keep going.
I don't think it's irrelevant.
You're getting in the weeds here with some of these details.
I'm not getting in the weeds. I'm showing how he met. I'm telling how he met the other main character.
What the conference was about means nothing. Just say who was speaking at the conference. That's what matters.
Well,
Jesus, folks.
It's significant.
I'm not a patient man.
No, you're not.
I try to be.
It's significant because that's how he meets Kirk with the C.
Right.
And the guy who's giving the
Willem Dafoe with
is
the
Willem
W.
Dafoe. We also find out a little nugget about Willem Dafoe. So,
and some flashbacks, right?
So as he gets up to leave, and I'm talking about William Tell gets up to leave, Kirk with a C stops him and says, "Here's my number. Give me a call. I think we should do work together on this."
We're getting there, folks.
Something to that effect. Do you want me to summarize it or not? You do the summary.
Are you reading the Wikipedia summary? Because this sounds
you
like
want to do the summary?
Go for it.
You want to do the summary?
Go ahead.
I'm right at the end of it. You interrupt me again.
I'm going to fill in some details. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Go.
No. I got to wait till you're finished, and then I'll.
I'm done. They meet.
No, you can't end there.
He says we can do business together, right, Bill? Right? Yeah, I know you. Yeah, okay, I know you. Yeah, well, let's take care of some things. Call me. He calls him, and then the ship takes off. It's a perfectly good.
Well,
all I was doing was setting it up by introducing all of the main characters.
For those of you not currently following us, welcome to the Oh Brother podcast. Take 2. Oh. Well, you left out one big piece from the beginning, which is he goes to prison. He's serving 10 years in a military prison, right? For acts that he committed as a soldier in Abu Ghraib. He was part, and most people probably know this story of the treatment of prisoners in Guantanamo Bay. And so he learns how to count cards because he's in this military prison for 10 years. So he's got nothing better to do.
That's where he learned.
Right. And then there's this interesting part of his character, I guess, from being in prison all that time. He's gotten used to the routine and the monotony of it and the sterility of it, I guess you could say. Because when he goes from hotel to hotel, and as I think you already said, he never stays at the casino hotels. I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but he, stays just outside at some, swanky motels or whatever. But he wraps all of the end tables and the lamps and everything in sheets, which I was like, where's he getting all these sheets? First of all, has he got like a suitcase from the last sheets?
Well, he did. He opened the suitcase.
Was it in the suitcase? Yeah. Yeah. So he's probably
when he opened the suitcase, I thought it was going to be money. And it's all sheets.
Me too. It was all okay. So it was all sheets in there. Yeah. So that was a kind of an interesting thing. Everything's
that was a quirk that they really didn't go deep enough into. Like, yeah, okay. How did you go? I guess from the routine, but somebody in the military is probably more familiar with that routine. So,
well, I
but
took it.
They didn't really
No,
pay that off.
and you're right. And I just took away that it was maybe also he got so accustomed to life inside the prison that was
Yeah,
that
one
was
or
the way
the
he was
other.
mimicking it. You know.
Although the military is more, bounce the quarter off the bed, so forth. They're more sterile than an environment, I would think, in a jail, especially where he worked.
Yeah, well, military prison. So he had the best of both worlds there.
Yeah.
So, what is your initial impression of this film?
I happen to like gambling films for some reason. I'm always fascinated by them,
Yeah.
especially when Texas Hold'em is concerned. I kind of
Hmm.
learned that uh, right on top of my head was my two favorite gambling movies, The Hustler, and
Yes.
next to that is Rounders
Right.
with
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon and who
Ed
else?
Norton in
Ed
that?
Norton. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. So Rounders is really fascinating because it teaches you how to play Texas Hold'em. Basically,
Hmm.
Matt Damon's narrates exactly, and I remember taking what he narrated and going to Vegas. Of course, I didn't have the kind of luck he had,
Right.
um, but yeah, I like gambling movies to begin with, and I thought the beginning of the movie really pulled me in, and I was really interested in this character, also Kirk, what was going on there, how he connected with him, because it was clear like William had this weird thing where he would talk to somebody like the waitress and say all sorts of things, or Tiffany Haddish, who sits down next to him and he goes off talking all about card counting and why I gamble and do this and do that. But then all of a sudden he's Mr. Secretive when it's somebody else. So it was a little bit of a character flaw I saw.
Yeah. And I would say maybe spoiler alert here because I think it's important for us to say a little bit more about Sheridan's and Defoe's characters and sort of how they come into the mix. Willem
Yeah.
Dafoe, if you want, what was Willem Dafoe's
Yeah. Well,
history?
why don't you take that piece of the story?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, Oscar Isaac is in the military prison because of, he was one of the soldiers that was mistreating the prisoners in Abu Ghraib. And Willem Dafoe is the guy who comes in and trains them how to interrogate.
And when you say mistreating, what kind of mistreatment?
Well, I mean, just, serious torture.
Yeah.
I mean,
horrible
deprivation of all kinds and, physical abuse and just horrible stuff. And so Defoe is the one that's really behind all of, the teaching and the training and the ways to do that. Right. And he's there apparently in a civilian capacity. So therefore he can't be tried for any of these crimes. Ultimately is another part of the story they go into. Well, turns out you find out that Kirk's father was also one of the soldiers that was trained by Defoe. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately for him, it led him to a life of addiction. He then ended up committing suicide. And that's why this kid, he bumps into Oscar Isaac at the convention because he's really tracking Willem Dafoe's character because he wants revenge.
Right. And it's Kirk's father. Wow, this is a tough one from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But
Emily, bing.
No, that's not a bing. That's an accent issue. But Kirk's father is the one who committed suicide. When you were telling the story, it almost sounded like Kirk committed suicide. It was a weird. There was like you left a period out somewhere. But yeah, so Kirk's father commits suicide. Bing.
You left a couple of consonants out.
Yeah, who needs consonants when you got A? So in the process, he finds out all the people who went to prison. And for people listening, it's it was the people who were pointing and stupidly enough taking pictures of themselves, pyramids of naked prisoners, stupid things like this.
Documenting
but
it.
They're basically documenting their own torture. Those people who took those photos were, brought to military justice in committing crimes. The ones that were taking the pictures or weren't stupid enough, like Willem Dafoe, to get in the picture, they got away scot-free because they could just plead whatever. And Dafoe, being one of the leaders or the leader, could just say, oh, this was, I'm not responsible for this. They did it when I wasn't there. They got no proof.
Right.
So Kirk did a lot of research and knew all the people who went to jail, who served time. And hence how he already knows a lot about William.
Right.
And William's a little freaked out by that. Like, okay. And he basically tells him straight out, Kirk tells William straight out, like William says, what are you here for? What's the whole point of this? Well, I say, we get him, we take him into a room, we torture him, and then we kill him.
Right. Right.
As nonchalant as that.
That's his plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about Paul Schrader because the name didn't really resonate, but wow, he's had writing credits. I don't know if you looked into his background, but he's had writing credits for major films like Taxi Driver, Raging Bull.
Yeah.
He even, a couple of interesting notes. He had a writing credit for City Hall, a movie that we like with Pacino, back in, I think, 1996. He directed and wrote the movie Light of Day, with Joan Jett, Michael J. Fox.
Michael Fox. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is wild. So he's got quite a resume. I just wasn't familiar with it, but I really thought is very well directed. There's a shot, without going into the detail of it, there's a shot towards the end of the film where the scene goes from night to day so subtly and in such a unique way I'd never seen before. I don't know if you remember that scene towards the end, but it was just this.
You'll have to, if you give me a little more, I probably,
it was within a home. It was inside this house, and the camera's pulling back,
right?
And as the camera's pulling back, it's so subtle that you recognize as it pulls back that when you focus, because there's some windows in the shot, and you realize that, oh my God, it's like daylight now.
Was it?
So it was like a time lapse, really.
Only on Isaac? Was it only on him?
It wasn't. There were no characters in the shot.
Okay, I thought he was in the shot.
Yeah, there were actually no characters.
I'll have to check that out.
It was great.
Sure.
There were a few like that were striking. I thought,
and there was a few with Oscar Isaac's character, how he was kind of tortured where he couldn't sleep.
Right.
And he would be flopping, and they would do time lapse.
Show him. It's interesting because I was thinking about him. A lot of people know him from Star Wars, of course, as Poe Dameron. And, easily
he's got a huge resume acting wise.
Right.
People don't know.
No. And
Willem Davis.
Yeah. And you'd think that you get into something like Star Wars and then you're forever branded as that character. But man, he is so good in this. And intense in this film. I really enjoy. We had talked about him not that long ago when we did Dune. We did a review on the movie Dune.
That's right. He was in Dune. Yeah,
and he was in there.
The father.
Yeah, the House Atreides. Yeah.
Yes.
But he was just fantastic. Tiffany Haddish, I thought, was great. They had a really good chemistry. She's definitely got good acting chops, and and she still was able to infuse some of that humor that I think she's most known for into this. It fit. They didn't overdo it. I felt like
it wasn't over the top at all. And,
right.
And I thought Tye Sheridan was really
he was great.
good.
He was great. Defoe was great, but he just wasn't. He wasn't. He was really.
Yeah, it was
in
a small part.
Much.
It was a small part. And there was an interesting dynamic with Oscar Isaac and Tye Sheridan that Oscar was trying to talk him out of it. Williams said, don't go down this route. You don't want to do that. And he knows he's living with the shame and the probably the self-loathing that goes with doing those things.
Mhm.
And he's trying to talk him out of it. And at the same time, I felt like he was trying to be his father and kind of take care of him, put him on the right track, give him some money. He took him with him
Well,
to teach
right.
him, how he made a living.
And this is the only problem I have with the film. I'd give
Yeah,
it a solid B, but
right.
I struggled with believing that he just wanted to take this kid under his wing in such a quick fashion and felt like he owed him something almost, because he essentially goes on this gambling circuit and he has this whole plan to make this money to help this kid pay off his debts, get him back to college, etc.
Right, right.
There wasn't enough buildup for me to really totally buy into that.
You know, I see what you're saying with that, but I didn't have the problem because I felt like William Oscar, his character was searching, all he does is gamble all day. That's it. And I
Right.
think he was searching for something, to make his life purposeful. And I
Yeah.
think as soon as he clicked with this kid and realized, at first I think he was suspicious of the kid, which I would have been. I would have thought he was a cop or something like that.
Right.
But once he got over that suspicion, I thought it was kind of normal that he would want to try to make up for the ills of his past by
Yeah.
helping him.
Yeah, I get that. it just seemed to
But
fall.
I did have a problem with the ending.
It fell a little flat to me. Oh, see,
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with the ending at all.
Yeah.
And the film is very intense at times. There's a couple of scenes between the two of them, Tye Sheridan and Oscar Isaac, that is really just some great acting on film.
Mhm.
So, yeah, they were all really good. Directing was good. It's an interesting score to this film too. It almost to me had like an 80s Terminator soundtrack vibe to it. It's something very like almost like synthesizer heavy, and there was something really
Yeah.
kind of dated about the score, but it worked. I mean, it fit. It was just really
Yeah.
haunting almost, I felt like, which
It
fitting.
was very different from, like, say, Rounders or
Yeah.
or The Hustler. I didn't, it didn't have that kind of feel to it.
And this film started production February of 2020, like right before the pandemic hit.
Mm.
And so then, of course, they had to shut down and they resumed, I think, in June or July.
Okay.
And so they got about a month's worth of filming in. And then when they came back in July, they finished it up in like 6 days. So it's a pretty quick shoot.
You said it came out in September.
Yeah.
I thought it's just now on like video on demand.
No, it's September.
So I didn't think it released till last month.
No, it was September.
It had
release.
a very limited release.
Yeah.
And like I said, right now, if you want to see it, you have to pay, I think, $20.
Yeah, and this, I don't think it's made all that much money. I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know what the budget was on it, but it hasn't. It seems like it's a film that's getting a little overlooked. I mean, the Metascore on IMDb, which you always like to reference, is I think 77.
Yeah.
And the Rotten Tomatoes is like 86% from the critics,
Right.
but it's only 42% from the audience. I don't get that.
The only thing I could think of is sometimes it got a little bogged down in the gambling language, especially at the beginning.
I'm not into cards at all. I don't get this whole poker thing. I just don't get it. It doesn't interest me at all. But I felt pretty, not riveted, but I was engaged throughout the film.
Yeah. It's a movie that definitely didn't get a big press release.
No.
Because it's flown. Like when you said September, I said, no, that's got to be wrong.
Yeah.
Because this thing is just now, like, it's one of those movies at home kind of deals, right
Yeah.
now. So I don't even know if it has a DVD or Blu-ray release.
Well, and it's not a film for the holidays, so it's not going to pick up any traction over the
You're
next
right.
month or
Yeah,
so.
it's not like, hey, holiday cheer time.
Which is why I would say, when it comes out on video, you can, rent it for less or something like that. I definitely recommend it. Maybe, hits
I
Redbox,
do recommend it.
Yeah.
And,
definitely.
people will judge for themselves. The ending would have, the reason I didn't like the ending wasn't because I thought it was bad. It was because I thought the ending was rushed.
Right.
Unlike you, I thought his connection to the kid was fine. But all of a sudden, a lot happens in the last, 5 minutes? They have to close a lot of doors, and they do it. And I just thought it was too quick.
Yeah, I can see that to a certain degree, but
there's a lot to like.
I felt fairly satisfied. Yeah, it's like a film like no other I've seen recently. Anyways, it's different. And Martin Scorsese was one of the producers on this film too.
Yeah, executive director actually.
Right? No, executive producer. Yeah,
a producer. Yes.
Yeah.
And like I said, I really didn't. I was the one who suggested doing this movie, but it wasn't because I heard such great things about it. I was just researching different movies that were new, that were fresh, that were different. And I watched the trailer, and right away I thought, yeah, this would make a good movie, I think.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I think I was right.
Yeah, it was good.
I would definitely, tell people to check it out.
We're both recommending this one for sure. All right. So you got any recommendations?
Since this is a
holiday season.
Well, I wasn't going to go with a holiday, but I was going to go with a gambling movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because, behind me, and the one I was going to go with, though, I couldn't find in my collection, it's a David Mamet movie called Heist with Gene Hackman. Mm-hmm. Right? Do I have the title right?
I think so.
I must have it misfiled or something.
I think so, but I'll be honest, I don't know that I saw that one.
With Gene Hackman and David Mamet's wife, who's gorgeous. Rebecca Pidgeon. I always forget her name.
Yeah.
She's excellent in it. Some other typical David Mamet, if you've seen.
Hey, I'm gonna send a shout out to our production assistant, who's still our production assistant right now, Emily Viadero, because she just messaged me and I saw it pop up. She's like, yeah, let me know when you upload the
hurry up.
Yeah. She's like, get on with it. I got a life.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to make stuff happen. Yeah.
I'm not like you two idiots.
I would have recommended The Hustler. That's such a great film with Paul Newman.
Yeah. And I almost held it back, and I was going to recommend Uncut Gems, which I don't think you've seen yet.
I haven't. I need to see it. Yeah, I need to see it.
That's a good one. On 4K Criterion. So.
I have, if for those watching and not listening behind me, I try to get a little closer because this is just not, I can't wait till I get into my new studio.
Yeah, exactly.
But behind me, I've got the classic Christmas Story.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Which is on top. And then I have the Christmas Classic Collection, which is like a lot of those animated Christmas favorites. On Blu-ray. I have A Course of Charlie Brown Christmas, one of my all-time favorites. One of our favorites, and if you have not seen Fat Man by the Nelms Brothers, you need to see Fat Man. Mike has it as well. I promise you we are not on the Nelms Brothers payroll, but it's just, this is a film you've got to see this season. Yes. And I also have another Christmas classic right here, if you can see, Bruce Willis in Die Hard, which is clearly, as everyone knows, a Christmas film.
It's absolutely not.
I thought I would.
We talked about that on another show, the Rexer show.
We did. You also mentioned this on the Rexer show, which is, I think, or no. This is in the blog. You mentioned this in the blog.
I did. Yeah.
When I met Peter Billingsley, Ralphie, in A Christmas Story, and there is his autograph on a VHS, folks. For you physical media
I didn't
fans,
know it was VHS.
The VHS, yeah. So this comes out comes out every Christmas. I mean, look at this thing; it's mint condition.
Yeah, I know.
So,
but you don't have it for the movie. You have it for the autograph.
I have it for the autograph. Yeah,
I'd probably chuck the VHS tape.
I've got a photo with him somewhere. I don't know where it is, but yeah.
He looks different, older.
Yeah, he does. He
you
does.
know, like I don't know if I would have caught him. Did you recognize him right away?
Oh, well, he was there. He was there for a
Oh,
function.
it was something. Oh, I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
thought,
he was. Yeah, he was there for a function.
so was
yeah.
it promoting that movie?
No,
A
it wasn't.
Christmas
It
Story?
was something
Something
with the
else.
Hard Rock Cafe.
Huh.
And because we went up on stage and I met him on stage, you know, he had people come up and was able
Really?
to talk to him for a few minutes. Yeah. And then took pictures and he signed that. And yeah,
See, I don't
it's
know
very
that whole
cool.
story as much as I thought I did.
Yeah. And I forget what the function was, but yeah, it was cool. It was just, it was Hard Rock. Yeah. That's where it was. I was thinking maybe Planet Hollywood, but it was
Hard Rock in Orlando, which is the biggest in the world.
It's still there. Is it the biggest in the world?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Okay. All right. That's going to do it. Anything else about the card counter with Oscar Isaac?
No, I would check it out. It's
Good
coming to Redbox, I think, next week.
Oh,
So
okay. Already.
You can get your hands on it at Redbox.
Yeah.
Or at least you can, because Redbox not only does physical now, they also do, if you sign up online, you can stream movies from them as well.
Yeah.
Some people don't know that. Like I only found that out not that long ago. But check it out.
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
if you like Oscar Isaac, who
It's a
like
good one.
he's been in so many things, like Llewellyn Davis, which is a film by the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a documentary. I always thought he was Llewellyn Davis. And then when I saw him in another movie, I finally realized, oh, he's just some actor.
He's so good in this. It's definitely a different role for him.
Yeah,
It's
different role for him.
So
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So check that one out. And again, for those of you not currently following us, make sure that you go out to our official website, which is OHB as in brother podcast.com, OHBpodcast.com.
Hit that subscribe button.
Get that subscribe button on YouTube for us there. And you can find us on all podcast platforms too. So make sure that you tell your friends about the show. We'd love your support. Drop us a review too on iTunes or any of the other podcast platforms. We'd appreciate your feedback there too.
And since this is such a movie, I think this is a movie that we did. The main reason was to turn people onto it because not a lot of movie podcasts are doing the card counter. They're doing probably right now Ghostbusters or something like that. But this is like more under the radar that people will enjoy. Mm-hmm. And you know, everybody's going to see these other movies. This is one I think we're trying to promote and get out there so people see something different.
Yeah, it's good. It's really different. Good. That's for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of the Oh Brother Podcast. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith, and we will see you next time.